kind of traits?
Burmese Ghouls. They have a shadow, but they played it just recently.
Yeah.
Geek Fam, they've had a shadow for a long time now.
Since the start.
The shadow's always been in the play. You just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
Shadow player and a shadow analyst.
Yes. The shadow analyst walks on all fours. The shadow player walks on twos.
Does he actually walk on all fours? That's crazy.
Yeah. And he sometimes howls.
You saw him at MPLI, was it?
I saw him in MPLI. I saw him in. I actually saw him just earlier as well.
He's here.
Geek Fam's playing, bro.
Yeah, but I didn't know if he was actually here. Like, how did he walk here on all
Look
fours?
at the arena, Naisu. There's a lot of lights. And when there are a lot of lights, there is going to be a shadow that has been casted.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where's
That's
that shadow?
wise. That's so wise.
So has the shadow ever casted before?
Oh, that's a heated question that I cannot answer.
Shout out Mafel, I stole that from him. He said that in MPL Indonesia playoffs. But here are the drafts.
Yes.
Take us
the
through it,
draft.
Yasu.
Okay, let's go through it. For Team Bremen's Ghouls, they do pay respect to the Lilia that was picked by, at least, I'm not by Lena because Lena is on the side of Bremen's Ghouls, but generally throughout the tournament we have seen Lilia rise up there in the top 3, I would say, when it comes to the mages, and also the Khalid. And we have said that it's a no flying zone for Team Bremen's Ghouls, so they stick to banning that Matilda. For Team Geek Fam, they keep on respecting the Uranus, and also by banning, I think this is the same 3 bans from the side of Team Geek Fam from the last game.
Okay. Well, given that situation, too, I like still the respect there for the Uranus. You mentioned this earlier, Yasu, right? But Bruno being the priority pick for Burmese Ghouls is great, right? This is probably one of the safer options, I guess. But on the flip side, what are you going to be giving up, right? What is going to go in the hands of Geek Fam? It's the Guinevere. This is now the Fredrin. And there's the Faramis. So Guinevere, Faramis picked up. Is this Valentina for Burmese Ghouls? Should they go that route, or should they just pick up? I mean, because Lilia's banned out, right? So do they just automatically go Valentina here?
You know what? A smart move here.
Yes.
You will not take the XP laner for Team Bremen's Ghouls. You will leave it up until the end because no one knows what you have on the XP lane. So far, we have just seen the Uranus and the glue, and by taking the Faramis, you are sending a really good message that if Faramis is picked off by you, Bremen's Ghouls, it's gonna be punished so hard. So just keep on the XP lane until the end. But yeah, they now answered me. I think it was really good if you leave that Trizla, because so far we haven't seen Shadow play any crowd control XP laners.
I think it would be really good if he had other heroes that are like very out of the meta that he can utilize, right? The fact is, his comfort picks were those two, and now with the Uranus banned out, a Faramis picked up, you can't pick the glue, you might as well pick up the Terizla, because that has to be the next safest option for you in the XP lane. You do not want Geek Fam to take that away from you, because look at this, look at him, look at him.
Geeky but deadly, right? Luke, he holds the highest average kills among XP laners at M5 with 3.57. So if you're going to match up against the Riz in your Luke, what do you take?
Luke.
An Arlet so far is there. Oh.
They take the Minotaur first. They say, hey, you want to dive? Come dive.
Come to my fury.
Why haven't we seen an Arlet though? I think the Arlet was one of the best, not the best, one of the most picked heroes so far in the tournament, and still he can work in such draft. So it might just get banned at this moment from the side of Team Bremen's Ghouls if they don't want to actually take. Actually, Arlet works on both drafts so far.
So Arlet roam for Burmese Ghouls?
Yeah, and XP for Geek.
I think either way, if you're facing off against this Terizla, right? And we saw the performance previously. Khalid taken out of the picture, so I'm wondering if, for example, Luke, not sure if he wants to go the Lapu Lapu here. A hero that has kind of fallen off too in that matchup against Terizla, right, has been the X-Borg. Not sure if they want to go that route either, but still, XP lane, a lot left on the table, not to mention the gold lane too. What are they going to deal with this Bruno? Is it going to be the traditional matchup we've seen so far for this M5? The Brody still going to be available for now. So, you know, what are we thinking here for Geek Fam?
For Geek Fam, I would say they want a Claude or an Ixia. I think an Ixia will make a lot more sense. But for Team Bremen's Ghouls, I'm actually wondering why did they ban the Beatrix and not these two that I just mentioned. So for Team Geek Fam, the priority is either Claude or Ixia, and for Bremen's Ghouls, I think they want an area crowd control after this Diggy ban, so we might see a Tigreal.
All right, I'll tell you why.
What?
For Burmese Ghouls, why they banned out the Beatrix is because
Beatrix.
for Geek Fam, that's his comfort pick. That's Chidera's comfort pick. When he doesn't get the Bruno, he goes to the Beatrix or the Claude and or the Brody. So it's Brody, Beatrix, Bruno. Those are his heroes. So that's why they went the Beatrix instead of the Ixia. We actually haven't seen Chidera on Ixia ever.
I feel like it's almost a little too risky, though. Like, Ixia's great, but she's just glass cannon. You know, and at this point, if you really want to utilize the Ixia and make it work, then, you know, you have to rely. It could work because you got Faramis. You got Faramis, there's the Cloud Band, so now we might even get closer to that being a, you know, a reality here. Faramis is going to help you protect that Ixia a little bit more. You have a Minoi and Fury to set up into the full barrage. But again, really, I feel like just naturally, Ixia's kind of a gamble, right? It's one of those heroes that you really have to take care of. And that's the gold lane already, man. You have to give them the gold lane experience to shine later on. Bruno just does that a little bit easier. So the answer right now, I mentioned this earlier, Lapu's going to be picked up again for Luke, playing into that Terizla here.
Maybe Coach Lin Daddy is actually forcing Kadera or like putting him into taking the Ixia, because you said, Marikora, just now that you haven't, based on your own experience, you haven't seen Kadera play the Ixia, right?
The beat of the flash.
Yes. I think that would be a solid option to go for, right? Just ban all of his heroes, which they are doing right now with the Beatrix, Claude, and the Bruno pickup. But I think it's more so to force the Brody out. The Brody will be punished by this comp a bit more than the Ixia, per se, right? I mean, technically, now with the Joy pick, both are pretty bad, right? Both can get countered here. The Ixia can get dove, the Brody can get stopped by the penalty zone, and Burmese Ghouls, they go for the Ruby.
They went with it again.
It's a comfort pick. Might as well.
Might as well.
It worked in game 2. Let's try to make it work in game 3. What's going to be the final pick, though? Safest choice, Irithyll.
Irithyll, wow.
Has to be, right?
Yeah.
Safest choice.
We haven't seen her pop up too much.
I've been
Oh, that's a risky pick there.
There's no Adet this time.
Yeah, against the Joy,
Yeah,
right?
against the Joy.
And the Ruby. You're not really like a super long-range marksman.
And that Terizla, though.
And you're, you
The
know,
Terizla actually not bad, because you're going to bring the Purify.
I was gonna say,
Alright.
but you have the Purify
But for
for
who?
only so long, and then you've got multiple things of CC being thrown at you if you're the carry. Yasu, how's this looking? In just a second, we'll see the breakdown for these lineups for both these teams. Things falling into place here. But so far, off the two drafts, how do you feel? Which one are you leaning more towards?
I feel more comfortable in terms of the execution for the draft for Team Bremen Schools, actually, because they have the crowd control, the air crowd control. Not just that, they have the Bruno, the snowball, all the game, and not just that, they have the Joy that has proven its worth all around the tournament, because not just of the mobility, also because of the immunity, and not just that, the electrifying beats, reaching those backlines will be lethal at some point.
Let's see.
We'll find out. Once again, jumping into the land of dawn. It's game number 3 here. It's 1-1 between Burmese Ghouls and Geek Fam. Interesting lineups once again coming to play. We'll see how they execute it this time around. Who gets the momentum built this time? Also, Marky for game number 3. Yes, it's still Guinevere, but a little more action-oriented this time around compared to the last 2 picks that he was drafting against a Joy, who has been dominant so far throughout M5. Once again, things fall into place.
And this is where it gets kind of concerning for the side of Geek Fam. Why? Because they actually hesitated to pick up the Guinevere. In game number 2, Guinevere was wide open. They went for the Bruno instead. What does that say? That tells you that maybe Marky isn't too comfortable on this hero, right? It is him just finally, it's his very early stages of adjusting to the jungle. But wait a minute, in the mid lane, boy needs to be careful. Nico's just jumping in, boy. Still able to flicker out, but it's a flicker, burnt out. Let's see, what do you think? Is it hard to pull off Guinevere?
I think, you know, Guinevere in a way, especially in the jungle, is, you know, it takes a little finesse, I feel like, for the most part, right? Spatial migration is work. It is very strong. Violent Requiem too, but, you know, for the most part, you've got to be able to find your own setups or follow-throughs, and, yeah, you got to be able to pull it off properly alongside the rest of the roster you have here. Now, I think that's why, once again, you kind of cover that, right? You have a Netherrealm, and you have this Minotaur here in Beloyski, so The layering should work in favor of Marky, but still, when it comes down to the actual objective takes, the actual objective fights here, the dance changes, right, from what we've seen from the previous 2 games, especially when you're talking about a Joy versus a Guinevere. So they're going to be very reliant on their teams also to kind of set those up for success as that turtle does spawn. Both teams are working at these level 4s as soon as possible. Luke now has it, a boy just nearly there. But that's it, Marky just going to go for it.
And it does seem like Burmese Goals don't want to contest at all. Marky finds it for free. Beloyski now needs to be careful. Minus Fury and a flicker to the back. Marky with a follow-up finds a first of blood. NetherRealm going to be popped in by both Lina and a boy right now. Beloyski gets taken low, but still going to be able to survive for a bit until Shadow smacks him with a hammer. But now it's a spatial migration. Marky's 1 HP gets the damage done before he gets taken down, and BlinkX gets brought back in the end. 3 for 2.
That was actually a really messy fight right there. I wouldn't say that any one of, like, both of them actually won the fight 2-2, and also the turtle, even though I would say that Nico was forced to use his retribution just to get that purple buff. And speaking of Marky, actually, in a matter of 3 games, he have tried 3 different utility jungling heroes. At the first game, we have seen him on the Baxia, and then on the Akai, and now on the Guinevere. So it's a really huge challenge for Marky, and I actually don't know about the hesitation that you pulled off, that maybe he hesitated and taken that Guinevere earlier on, but let's see.
Oh boy, gotta be careful. Flicker's out, but Nico electrifies him with the beats.
Yeah, that's what's scary about it, right? The Joy is going to be picked up, and this is usually contested for a reason or banned out. The damage this early on, 3.5 minutes in, has to be respected already. And, you know, given the way that if you look at the previous game, Burmese Ghouls, they didn't get any of the turtles, right, in the previous one. But they were okay with that because they set things up to get to a point where then they could contest the Lords. And I feel like that might be a similar situation here. Battle for the purple.
He steals it. Spatial migration canceled. NetherRealm giving him some HP. Oh, the pullback from BlinkX all the way to the turret. That actually ends up saving Marky as he found the angle to jump out with the clone, and GEEK fam get out. They get a win too. They stole away the purple buff.
That purple buff being stolen and the levels going for the favor of Marky, but looking at the emblems a while ago, Bantina going for a really good approach when it comes to the penetration, and also the Bruno wanting to rely on himself when it comes to laning phase, taking that tanky approach and also buying the Has Claws as fast as possible.
Hey.
What happened?
No, I'm just saying hey, because it seems like Luke is saying, hey to Shadow.
Yep.
Don't get too far across the lane. I'm gonna smack you.
Just waving his swords around for now. Turtle gonna be up though, so GEEK fam in position. Burmese Ghouls wants a response.
A fight across the map. Up top, they wanted to go for the engage a boy. Able to disengage from this one. BlinkX.
That's far.
They don't have a flicker, man, and he is caught in the midst of it all. Don't run, Wolf King. Good one. Now they're in a penalty zone. Out to 3. Locking him down for now, but Luke is able to bring out the bravest fighter. A boy, 1 HP, now gets smacked down by Shadow. But it's a turn. It's an exchange. Chidera rotating from the top side or the bottom lane, perhaps. Now, what? Just jumped to his demise. The Burmese Ghouls capitalize, and Stitch find a turret as well.
Man, that response, just to go for the mid-turret, put the damage, Chidera comes up, finds his death, and now Nico also going to take the purple buff. So they didn't care about the turtle. Again,
wait,
they might just want to give it up.
They might want to go for it too. Remember, Nico didn't use his retribution, but nah, it's going to be bursted out. A bit too fast unless Shadow gets a cheeky steal. My goodness.
If he would have got that.
That was close, but Beloyski.
Minions Fury, this time BlinkX. There's no way he escapes that. He's been escaping out of a lot of things. Luke, try to go for a flicker play. Didn't quite find Stitch there.
All right, taking a quick look at the items here. Yasu, how's it looking?
It's looking actually pretty good when it comes to Bruno and his farming. And also, he's not only farming in his lane, he's also now using the assist of the minions in the mid lane. And the top lane, Burmese Ghouls are taking a turret. On the bot lane as well, we can see the trade coming from GEEK fam. And Joy is not looking in a really good position here.
Well, what I noticed too, the way that Nico's playing this, hold on, Marky.
Very aggressive, now gonna be punished. I'm offended, Terrify, and the ball coming down from Stitch. Goal.
See what I mean? Goal.
Go.
That's, at that point, that's what I mean by it takes a little finesse to make the Guinevere work, right, for the most part.
Alright.
But with that, going back to what I was saying earlier, Nico, for the most part, for this Joy jungle, it seems like a lot of times he's just going to try to farm up as fast as possible, get the items that he needs to win some of these team fights later on, whether that's getting an automatic kill against Geek Fam leading into these objectives, you know, or how they play around that. That's really up to Nico, but so far he's kind of just gone as, let me just ignore these turtles for now, but in mid lane.
Luke wants to ignore everything, but gets caught in a lot of damage. He dives in deep, but Stitch finds a worldie. Luke is 1 HP, and Shadow demolishes him with the penalty zone. As Stitch buys the Berserker's Fury. Is that the power spike they were waiting for to finally take control of the game, to just dictate the game?
Just getting that position they're going to be looking for. Holy Crystal now being picked up by Nico. Shadow going to get dragged. Still trying to work on this mid lane turret.
Oh, nice hook.
Got
Goes in.
Requiem.
Ooh, that
still
was
gets out.
close.
Still gets
That
out.
was close.
A bit too close for comfort.
Yeah, so with that, they might actually go ahead and just try to take this turtle, but as you see, Nico not even a part of this right now. Still working on his buff, the orange buff. Gonna go ahead and grab that. Marky doing the same. Both teams getting in position, but this time around, Chidera's not part of this fight.
No.
So it's just gonna be Turtle now going to the hands of Burmese Ghouls. They've garnered themselves a 3K gold lead up to this point. Very decisive once again in a lot of these decisions they're making throughout the course of this game. Geek Fam has to answer them, finding their own. And again, item checks here, Yasu. How's it looking with that almost 2-5 now ahead?
Well, I'll tell you about the items, but just after I tell you this point, Team Grimace Ghouls, the only difference between them and Team Geek Fam is that after each team fight, Team Grimace Ghouls actually take an objective after it. So let's say, for example, if Team Grimace Ghouls wins a team fight, they go for a turret. If Grimace Ghouls wins a team fight, they go for a jungle invade. But for Geek Fam, they are not doing that at all.
The scariest thing I saw from the items here, aside from, you know, that point you just made, is the fact that Nico has that Holy Crystal, has the Genius Wand. If he just causes havoc, reducing that magic resistance from Geek Fam, and then here comes Lena popping in with the Valentina, it's going to be quite a bit of damage to deal with for Geek Fam, and they're not necessarily where they need to be defensively yet. It's still early on, right? So as these team fights unfold, that's where you kind of have to rely on the kits of these heroes that you've drafted. Beloyski even taking quite a bit of harassment. Yes, he's going to be able to heal back up, motivational roar and everything else, but still, that's the plan for Burmese Ghouls as they go through this. Looking at the damage dealt, though, you can already see things once again favoring Burmese Ghouls. Stitch there on top.
Team Geek Fam actually at this point, they are looking for a really perfect setup to find an opening for Kadera to go in, because it's so hard to set up for a hero like the carry. But looking here, Shadow is waiting.
Penalty zone onto Chidera, still able to kite away, and he bursts him down. Shadow did that for the tier 2. Now, we'll see if that's going to be worth it here, as Burmese Ghouls were actually able to find another objective up top. So it ends up being completely worth it. 1 kill for 2 turrets.
Yeah, macro level. Burmese Ghouls is just on point so far. With Shadow gone, though, for another 8 seconds or so, they're going to have to wait. Probably stall out the Lord the best they can against Geek Fam. Given the situation, Chidera still planting the bottom side, waiting there. Now Shadow going to make his way for this. We'll see. Geek Fam, once again, do they actually want to pull the go on this? Given the situation, being 3K down here, it is going to go ahead and reset. So neither team wants to commit just yet, unless Burmese Ghouls decides to give it a go. Still a lot of this too. Nico waiting patiently.
Carries in the bottom lane. Beloyski gets pulled down with I'm offended. Marky now trying to run away, but he's get caught in the wall. And he falls. Geek Fam, were they trying to just concede it all the way from the start? The carry was shown, and they still look to try to contest, and Chidera doesn't get anything aside from the tier 1.
Well, for Geek Fam, the only setup that was possible there is for Beloyski to go in and use his ult, maybe with a flicker in, not out. But here,
good, I'm offended. One more shot should do it.
Nico.
It's bouncing all around. That is truly a worldie from downtown. A half-court shot. Beloyski getting saved by that nether realm, but my goodness, Burmese Ghouls, they're outplaying Geek Fam.
I say this is a different Burmese Ghouls from what we saw from the group stage.
Wow.
You know, yes, I know they made a little bit of a change there, but still the game plan that they're approaching this with is just showing that it's working, right? The synergy between them, the shot calls, the way that it's unfolding here, it's a refined Burmese Ghouls from the group stage right now with this Lord top side making its way. Geek Fam, full force though, should be able to defend against it. It is rather quick to deal with. We'll see how they hold on to it. Shield's gonna go.
Electrifying beats just jamming in the back line of Geek Fam, in the base of Geek Fam.
Oh, there's a conceal here by Blink, but oh, he's not committing to it.
Gonna be happy with that mid turret going down 2 already. Once again, early Lord taking down these 2 turrets.
Whoa! I'm offended. Onto the penalty zone, the combo. And you can see the Netherrealm isn't even going to be used up. A boy died before he could use anything. Chidera finds a kill back onto Shadow, but just like Stitch, sliding tackle forward. What was that? Now the turnaround onto Blink X. A triple kill should happen for Chidera, and he does find a triple kill to redeem himself from game number 2. But what the heck was that?
Stitch what happened? He didn't have to go forward.
No, he didn't.
Well, that gives a triple to Chidera, man, on this carry who has been waiting for a moment to shine and pull through, and now that was probably it. Yes, it's still a 4.4K gold lead for Burmese Ghouls, but this is going to translate into turrets going down. Geek Fam making it work. Let's take a look at exactly what transpired there from this instant replay. Once again, presented to you by Kadia. Look at this. Pay attention. That's actually after he had slid forward. And then they just capitalize on it. Man, tough for Burmese Ghouls there going into the base. We talked about this even before in the series with a lead that they had, and it slipped through their fingers. If they continue to play like that, do those kind of mistakes, Geek Fam will punish them.
Just really want to know if it was a misstep or it was like a conscious decision, right?
Like, go for it.
Maybe he got overcarried by the damage he can deal. And also Kadira, as I told you, he needs just one opening, and Geek Fam at this point, they are all about the counter engage and not about the initiation themselves. So Beloyski actually needs to respond whenever Shadow or Nico goes in and tries to go for these risky gameplays. But now they are dancing with the Lord, and there's a possibility to contest.
They just gotta give it up.
Yeah, Marquis completely zoned away, pops into Valor Requiem in desperation. Beloyski gets a good knockup, but the penalty zone locks him down. It is Fury knocking a Stitch up. Luke going in, the Purify still there. Chidera! Into the back, able to find Stitch. Nico not popping the electrifying beats in time, and Blink X will lose his life. Run down by the legs of Geek Fam. A boy takes the kill, and Geek Fam, is this their ticket back?
Again, very similar to what we were just talking about. Geek Fam knows how to punish here. Burmese Ghouls look like they should have won that fight. They did get the Lord. So right now, Geek Fam has to be on the defense, working around it. But down 2 members, what will this result in for Burmese Ghouls? Geek Fam still keeping it together here.
Well, for a boy right now, once he got that Holy Crystal, now he can deal a decent amount of damage. He can use the groupings that Team Burmese Ghouls can actually do, but Kadira can also find his way through with this damage, with the true damage that he can deal to these tanky heroes. And if you look at Burmese Ghouls side, you will find Shadow, Blink, and not just that, Nico at some point cannot deal with the damage output that Carry can actually do. To look at the damage dealt here, you will see that Stitch is sitting there on the top, but again, right now, when you look at Team Burmese Ghouls, they are not actually setting up anything for Stitch at this moment, and he got over carried by his damage, and this is where you face the consequences of your actions. Team Burmese Ghouls, after being in the driver's seat, as we say, they are now afraid of the counter engage that Beloyski can pull off. Beloyski at this moment is the turning point for Team Geek Fam to get into the game, and not just that, to finish it all off.
We'll see if they're able to do it. Once again, you saw the damage meters there. Burmese Ghouls doing an amazing job. Shadow also top there for the damage. Has been on point for a lot of these setups. So Geek Fam, you know, they've slowly whittled down that gold lead that was in favor of Burmese Ghouls. But here's the thing, the reality of it all, as that Flash of the Oasis picked up Beloyski, which will help them, they still have to manage this base. It's fully exposed, right? That's the advantage that Burmese Ghouls has right now as they wait patiently for this Lord to come up. Because at that point, they know, okay, Geek Fam, you got to respond to us. Either join us for the dance, manage your waves, manage the base, maybe possibly split them up. So, Burmese Ghouls, even given that situation, if they get displaced themselves, if they get set up upon, are not able to deal with their Nether Realm, the Noyan Fury, that type of setup potential, they could lose another fight, which would just heavily swing things in favor of Geek Fam if they secure this Lord in 10 seconds.
And speaking of that possibility, actually, for Geek Fam, if they win one more fight, it's actually enough for them to finish the game, because having the minions in this period of time, like 17 minutes into the game, you can actually tunnel through any lane that you choose, and you have an advantage into.
They're gonna go for it here, Geek Fam. They've got the information.
Oh, Shadow!
Marcus gonna be on the way, but Loisky jumps into the midst of it all with the Minion's Fury, but is unable to find much. Now the rest of the team caught in the eye, offended. Blink X finds a big play, but now Chadero's free hitting in the back. Nico jumps in with the electrifying beats. Marky gonna lose his life as he pops into Violent Requiem in desperation. Chadera terrified and taken down. The Burmese Ghouls come alive once again in the 17th minute of the game.
A boy and Luke are going to be alive here. Burmese Ghouls, though, alongside the Lord, are going to run it down mid.
All the way, they're looking to end game number 2. Luke with a desperate flicker forward, not even taking Lina down. That's a killing spree for Stitch and Nico as they take us to match point for the Burmese Ghouls.